Welcome back to part 2 of telling your story, your faith story in Jesus Christ, and why you're Catholic, why you're in the pew, and how God lightens your load in life. So the first thing I would invite you to do is realize, yes, you have a story, and it doesn't need to be a story like Paul being knocked off of his horse and being extraordinary. But take some quiet time before the Lord. Do whatever natural for you to center yourself in prayer. And ask the Lord to reveal to you those moments in your life when He was profoundly present for you. And just be still for a while. You will come up with experiences where you had joy, something unique, and where you recognized God's presence. Just sit with those experiences, jot down the experience so you remember. And then the simple step-by-step, and it's very simple. There's a PDF right here on the page you can use for all the details, so you don't have to take any notes. But it's based on the word story. So the first one, starting with S, is a structure. The structure is not your whole life, not your personal life history. It's one event, one moment in your life where you know now, maybe you knew at the time, that God was holding on to you, that He was breathing joy into your life, or He was breathing order into a place where there was chaos. A time when you know He was with you. So that event. The second thing, T, the event could be a triumph, or it could be something, a tragedy and a struggle, any kind of an event. So S, T, then that brings us to O, in story. Openness. When in the midst of that story did you begin to be aware that something else was happening? That maybe you weren't alone, or that God was helping you, or that the great joy was beyond any joy you'd ever experienced before, or the great sorrow was so deep and so profound, yet you felt comforted somehow. So when did you have an openness to see new life in the midst of that story? And then R, in story, for redemption or renewal. You respond to that openness. You respond and recognize God's presence and move through your situation in whatever it calls for. And then the Y in story stands for you, because you are unique and you have your own story. So you can sit back and try to figure out what the uniqueness is for you by thinking of what was the meaning for it in your life. How did that improve your life? Like the story I shared in the previous video, how knowing all these things allowed me to travel across country and gave me a unique experience. Don't worry about, your story. The Holy Spirit will help reveal it to you and help you share it. Sometimes you'll find your story will change in nuance as you become more profoundly aware of God's activity in it. And also as maybe someone you're sharing it with might need a more nuanced version of your personal story that the Holy Spirit is aware of and you're not. So when we become open to discovering this and telling our story, we're open to the Holy Spirit too, and trust that He'll flow in the midst of your sharing. Now, this is really uncomfortable. Catholics are private people. We were taught to be private in this Christian nation of ours. You can have faith, but do it privately. But in reality, faith is not private. Faith is very deeply and profoundly personal, but it's never private. Faith connects us as human beings and connects us as one family of God. So this will be uncomfortable for you. I would start by first doing it with yourself, helping yourself discover your stories and having quiet prayer time with God and recognizing. And then when you get bold enough, share a story with one of your closest friends, with your husband, your wife. Maybe in watching your children, you see their story and how God helped them in a way you were trying to and weren't able. Sit and talk to your children about their own story. How you see God strengthening them. How you see God giving them some joy, giving them courage to go to school in difficult situations. Whatever you see in them, just begin seeing it in others and in yourself. Share it with yourself. Begin opening up to your closest friends. And your life is going to change. And your load will be lightened because you yourself will come to realize how much God is holding you. You know that old saying that there's only one set of footprints in the sand because God is carrying you? It makes that little saying alive and vibrant in your life when you recognize the patterns of our universal Catholic story. So have fun. Contact me if you need some help. Use the PDF, and I look forward to connecting with you throughout all of our shared journeys. God bless for now. Bye-bye.